He's fascinated by the Xbox's tech. He becomes part of the fast-growing online community of like-minded nerds. They crack their consoles and get their own software running.
Last week, Gears of War 3 was leaked on the web.
They're just video games, he thinks. It's not like he's hacking into servers and stealing information. They discover a tunnel that leads them straight to a US military server.
Why was there a link between Spec Ops, Zombie, and the military? I feel like this is Microsoft's fault. But how the f did this end up in the hands of 14-year-olds in Australia?
Subscribe!
This is David Pecora. He's 22 years old, has shoulder-length blonde hair, and studies computer science.
Did he forget to put his face on in DTI, or did he not have enough time to put on his makeup? Kind of scary. Joke.
His online names are Xenon and Xenomega. He's part of the Xbox community, tweaking consoles and creating cheats for games like Halo and Call of Duty. Right now, he has an annoying problem. The bumper of his car is broken, and the dealer refuses to ship the parts to Canada. So he asks his friend Justin, who lives in the US, if he can order the new bumper to his house. They met each other years ago on the internet. Justin lives in Wilmington, about an 8-hour drive away. David's plan is to drive there, get the bumper, maybe grab something to eat together, and head back home.
I thought that this was hacking Xbox. Why does this have such a serial killer sort of energy to it? Why is it giving serial killer, like, why? Who's gonna die? Something terrible is gonna happen. I thought this was gonna be a silly story about the kids.
Dad offers to tag along so they can take turns driving. They take the family car. About an hour later, David and his dad get to the border. The US border officer checks their passports. He's about to wave them through when he sees a strange name on his display. "What's Xenon?" the officer asks. David flinches. That's his online name. But why on earth does it pop up here at the passport control? Two figures in dark uniforms approach the vehicle. They pull their weapons and tell him to step out of the car. David gets arrested. He walked right into a trap.
What?
The thing is, David may have done more than tweaking consoles and coding cheats.
Okay.
The FBI has been after him for years. He's part of a hacker gang that will become to known as the Xbox Underground.
Anonymous. We are Legion. Ah! I'm so unserious. I'm so sorry.
They are responsible for an unprecedented series of cyber attacks on some of the biggest tech firms on the planet. They stole thousands of login credentials, heisted the source code of unpublished games, and hacked into confidential US military simulations.
Oh.
They didn't do it on behalf of some government agency. Sometimes they didn't even make money with it. They were just a bunch of teenagers.
So they did it just cuz? Honestly, that's kind of badass. Can we be real? Doing crimes on that level, just cuz they could, is so funny. It's kind of cool. Like you're kind of real for that, honestly. This is crazy well edited. Because I knew the second it had good music, I was like, this is epidemic. I just know it.
This entire story is based on the fabulous Wired article and a double episode of the highly recommendable podcast, Darknet Diaries. You'll find the links in the description. David was always destined to become a hacker. He's still in elementary school when he builds his own little web browser. He simply teaches himself how to code. In 2001, David's world and that of countless other kids changes forever. The OG Xbox is released.
For the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
Back then,
That's a little kid built their own browser? I remember, okay, my experience with coding is very, very specific. Tell me if this is relatable to any old people in chat. My experience with coding is trying to change the code in my Tumblr blog so that I could have a sleigh theme. Back when Tumblr was not Gotta learn use of HTML if I can do that.
And the Xbox marks a technological milestone. A bunch of high-end hardware packed into a massive black casing. The black and green dashboard and the ridiculously oversized controller kind of give off nuclear reactor vibes. It's a completely new aesthetic at the time. David gets one and hopelessly falls in love with Halo. But he's not just a passionate gamer. He's fascinated by the Xbox's tech. He becomes part of the fast-growing online community of like-minded nerds.
Damn.
David is extremely talented.
That's really cool. Question, random question. Did you guys ever have the kids at school who would offer to jailbreak your iPhone if you sent them money? And it was like the most like janky, unusable to do to your phone that like had no purpose at all. But they'd be like, give me $15 and I'll jailbreak your iPhone. I never did that shit. I was like, I'm fine with how my iPhone works. I don't need all that. And I didn't want to get in trouble with my mom because she'd be super, super mad if I broke my iPhone like that. So I didn't do it, but I remember.
And quickly gains cred in the scene. He starts writing programs for Halo that let you tweak the physics or even the weather in the game. Then, in 2005, the Xbox 360 drops and changes everything. Again. Microsoft learned from its mistakes and bolstered the console's security. To hack the new Xbox, you need a development kit. That's a special console with extra features just for developers. These dev kits are incredibly hard to get. Developers need to be verified by Microsoft to have one. For everyone else, they're strictly off limits.
So I'll simply hack the verifying of Microsoft to get it, obviously. I don't know how hacking works. I think the sort of rebellious nature of hacking and the sort of subculture around it, I find it interesting. I am scared of breaking the law and I don't want to go to jail. So I personally will not be doing that. And also that seems really, really hard. But I think that like modding and stuff like that, stuff that is not obviously breaking into national security and doing big crimes. I think doing modding stuff and doing silly stuff with your games is really neat. And I don't know, I'm interested in it, like the culture around it essentially, but I don't really want to go to jail. So personally, I don't do that.
It takes a while, but eventually a few dev kits start popping up online. Someone has found thousands of them at a recycling yard. Microsoft must have tried to trash them, but now someone is making money by selling them. In 2008, David acquires several of these dev kits for himself and resells a few. This is how he meets Justin May, his buddy from Wilmington. Online, Justin goes by MTW. The dev kit gives David access to PartnerNet, a closed platform where Xbox developers upload test versions of their games. He spends his nights scouring PartnerNet, posting—
How did Microsoft fuck that up that badly? That's kind of my thing. It's like, okay, I guess we can be mad at him for hacking the government and all that other crazy that they did, but like, that's kind of your fault, like high key. How did you fumble this badly? If you knew that this was a problem, how did this happen? What happened here? What happened here? Several dev Xboxes is insane.
Screenshots of unreleased games and making a name for himself in online forums. He starts showing up late to school. His grades are slipping. But he thinks, what if this is my ticket to a career in game development?
By hacking? I don't know.
In 2010, David catches the attention of a guy named Dylan Wheeler. Dylan is 14 and lives in Perth, Australia. He has long brown hair and is in the middle of puberty. He loves a good thrill and got into hacking early on. In high school, Dylan got suspended for hacking into the school's network.
What a weird, random, like very specific, he has long brown hair. In the middle of this? What?
But he doesn't like to be told what to do, so he hacked the network again and got suspended again.
I don't give a fuck.
He's fascinated by what David and others are doing with the Xbox and wants in on the action, so he signs up to the Xbox hacking forum. His online moniker is Super Day.
Super Day.
That same year, 2010, another Xbox 360 dev kit ends up in the hands of Sanad Nishayawat. Sanad is 24, lives in Washington, New Jersey, and is a true tech enthusiast. He started gaming by 8. By 12, he was taking apart entire consoles. His room is packed with electronics. His desk is covered by a soldering iron, an oscilloscope, and all sorts of electronic parts. He dives into the Xbox scene and calls himself Sonic. It's an incredibly exciting time for—
I feel like this is Microsoft's fault. I understand that if you're like a criminal or whatever, obviously you're going to get your hands on what you need to get your hands on. And I want to acknowledge that first of all. But how the f did this end up in the hands of 14-year-olds in Australia? This is high-key their fault.
David, Justin, Dylan, Sanad, and many others. PartnerNet is an absolute goldmine. They get to play new games months before their release, completely free of charge. But at some point, they start getting into trouble with real developers on the platform. In 2009, David finds a way to use cheats for the brand new Call of Duty game. He sets up a server and charges users for using his cheats. $100 per 30 minutes. Players can walk through walls and fire without ever missing a shot. The cheat business is a huge success. David quickly makes up to $8,000 a day. He takes his girlfriend to fancy restaurants and stays in luxury hotels. Activision, the developer behind Call of Duty, catches wind of David's scheme. They send him cease and desist letters and threaten to sue. But David does.
That's so expensive. You can get cheats a lot quicker now, I guess. I guess maybe it was less common during this time. I feel like you could probably get free cheats if you really wanted to. But I guess a lot of this stuff is a lot more well-known and a lot easier to do. And yeah, a brand new game is kind of wild. But there was a crazy period of time where it was super common to have cheats and just live stream on TikTok. And so they would be playing Fortnite and spinning around at Mach 10, shooting anything that was detected by the cheat. That they got so many views from that. I don't know if they made anything from it, but it was really common. I got them so much for a while.
Doesn't respond. They're just video games, he thinks. It's not like he's hacking into servers and stealing information.
True.
Well, not yet. The Xbox Underground story is so insane, it would definitely deserve its own website. You know who also deserves their own website? You. A portfolio site is...
I don't like the fourth wall breaking. That scared me.
One night, Dylan gets a message from an online friend named GamerFreak1727. It contains a list of usernames and matching email addresses and passwords, all taken from a forum run by game developer Epic Games. At the time, Epic is mostly known for Unreal Tournament and Gears of War. Dylan checks the list and finds the login credentials of an IT employee at Epic Games. He wonders if that person uses the same password on other sites. He tries to log in to the employee's Gmail account, and it works. He combs through the inbox and finds another password, admin060606.
All right.
It gives him access to an internal network at Epic Games.
Okay, all right. Eventually, the curiosity has gone too far. We got a bit crazy with our curiosity. The curiosity is now killing the cat, and the satisfaction is not going to bring it back. That's crazy. That's insane. Oh my God. I think I inherently, I don't like authority and I don't like being told what to do, but I also don't like getting in trouble. And so being so young and thinking to do quite literally any of that, unthinkable to me. The developer is a dumb, to be clear. And also, again, this is high-key Microsoft's fault, but the thought to even do anything with that information, I could not.
Dylan sends David a message to tell him about his find. David is hooked. One of the servers are hosting unreleased games. He knows that what they're doing is illegal, so he sets himself some limits. No looking at customer data or credit card information. He's only interested in the games. David and Dylan spend months rummaging through the Epic servers on the hunt for anything interesting.
I think the boundaries is fair, I suppose. You're gonna get in a lot of trouble, though. Like, what do we? I think it's nice that he set limits for himself.
And sure enough, they eventually find something. An early build of Gears of War 3, complete with source code. They can't believe their luck. They're on the verge of playing one of the most anticipated games of the year, months before anyone else. They message Reynard to let him in on their discovery. He has a hacked modem at home that lets him cover up his IP address, so he can download the game without getting caught. Reynard logs into Epic's network and grabs the files. It's hundreds of gigabytes of data. He stays up all night until the download finally completes. He's too excited to go to sleep. He burns the data onto 8 Blu-rays and mails them to David. He writes the words wedding videos on the package. David receives the package and tries the game. The build is still pretty raw. A lot of the textures are missing. It's not really playable at this stage. David sends the game to the others.
Too bad it sucked. The game wasn't even good. All of that for a game that wasn't even good. That's so funny. It was? Okay.
Including Justin.
All this crime.
Just a few days later, the game appears online as a public download. The leak makes headlines everywhere.
Last week, Gears of War 3 was leaked on the web. Gears developer Epic Games confirmed that this is not the final build of the game and warned people that downloading the title may actually melt your system. Not sure if that's true, but scare tactics aside, don't pirate. Pirating sucks.
The guys are still
Pirating completed games from non-indie developers. I'm not going to say I encourage it because I don't want to encourage stealing. However, I do think it is morally neutral, and that's how I will put what I think about that.
Still snooping around the Epic Games network when they stumble upon a very unsettling email. Epic Games has called the FBI because of the leak, but it seems the feds are not onto them yet. David is freaking out. He asks Justin to help him crypt his hard drives. Reynard decides to lay low and wait for things to calm down. Dylan, however, doesn't care about the FBI. He keeps logging into
Oh.
the servers, while the feds are actively scanning them to find the hackers.
All right, Dylan. Dylan said, I don't give a 12. He said, YOLO, bitch, I'm doing what I
His
want.
ballsiness pays off.
Damn.
Dylan finds a USB drive connected to the network, and on that drive, he finds a list of all the company's important access credentials.
Holy
Dylan now has
fuck.
full access to Epic's network. From that point on, he logs into
Whoa.
the network every single day. He roams around the PCs of Epic employees and taps their webcams. He sits at his computer in Australia and watches them in real time while they move around the office or sit in meetings.
Why?
He mostly exploits human errors. He searches data breaches for login credentials and then tries them on other sites. Eventually, he manages to also hack into the network of other companies. Dylan is on a serious hacking spree. David and Sanad find out what he is doing and jump back in. They just can't resist.
Dylan is insane. That's a crazy kid. That's a crazy little kid. What did they say? What did he say? Did they say he was 14? This is crazy. This 14-year-old does not give a fuck. Also, again, this has got to take basically all day other than when he's actually at school. Where the fuck are this kid's parents? What do they think he's doing in there?
One by one, they hack the networks of tech giants like Microsoft, EA, Bungie, Blizzard, Valve, and Activision. They keep digging deeper and deeper,
That's crazy.
downloading more and more unreleased games. It's like a fever dream.
I feel like, to be honest, maybe we don't put these people in jail. Obviously, they've done crimes. Just get them to figure out how to exploit your shit. Like, just go find exploits. Find the weaknesses, because you're obviously good at that. And tell us where they are so we can fix them. Give them a job. At that point, because, like, how many people have this specific skill set? I feel like so few. That's actually a thing already? Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I feel like this is very much that. Like, just hire them. They have such a good skill set for this if they want to be hired.
Guys have been hacking their way through the gaming industry for almost a year now.
Damn.
From time to time, they're also making money off of it. David starts selling the jacked and unreleased games to a user called Xbox Dev Guy. The contact is established via Justin. But deep down, they're still just a bunch of gaming fans. They invite their friends over to show their new video games. They never reveal where they get them from. They're a small and tight-knit group, but they can't always keep the excitement to themselves. So every now and then, word gets out to the wider scene. And every time that happens, new people want in on the action. 2 new faces join the group. Austin Alcala is a 16-year-old high school student from Accordsville, Indiana.
16.
He's tall, rather shy and reserved. Online, he goes by AA Monkey.
Okay.
The second newbie is Nathan LaRue, an 18-year-old from Bowie, Maryland. His dad works
Let's go, adults. Let's freaking go! We got an adult in the house!
as a diesel mechanic, and his mom is busy homeschooling him.
Okay.
Nathan has written a program to fake FIFA coins and dreams of becoming a proper game developer someday. Online, he calls himself Anime Freak. The group expands their hacking activities, and their virtual break-ins move further and further away from gaming. AMD, Intel, Disney, Warner Brothers, and Google.
Disney!
They end up infiltrating the servers of almost 25 companies, all of them major corporations.
I don't know why out of all of these, the thought of Disney really struck struck fear into the bottom part of my soul. Mickey Mouse is coming for your ass. He's gonna put a hit out on you. Don't with the mouse. That's scary as hell.
A late summer evening in 2012, Austin and Nathan are poking around the servers of Zombie Studios, a developer known for war games like the Spec Ops series. They discover a tunnel that leads them straight to a US military server. The drive's
Okay. All right. So how the does that work? Why was that there? Why did that exist? Why was there a link between Spec Ops, Zombie, and the military itself? The US Army. That's crazy.
host a new game Zombie Studios is working on, AH-64D, Apache Simulator, a flight simulator commissioned by the US Department of Defense.
Oh.
They hesitate. This is
That's
bigger
cool.
than anything they have found so far, and much more dangerous. Curiosity ends up getting the best of them, and they download the game.
They actually do have really crazy VR for a lot of that stuff now in the military. The concept it's very cool, actually. That makes sense. Never mind. It makes perfect sense.
The group is at its peak. They've been active for over 2 years. They've gone places no one else could. David, Dylan, Sanad, Austin, and Nathan have become the core of the group. Others are loosely involved in individual hacks. Altogether, there are almost a dozen strong now. They're aware that everything that they have done could already land them in jail. But they just can't stop. They joke about what they would call their gang in prison. Xbox Underground sounds pretty badass, they think. They laugh at the idea,
That's badass.
but not for much longer. Justin, aka MTW, was an early member of the group.
Right.
He met David when he bought the Xbox 360 dev kit from him a few years ahead of the Epic Games hack. Justin was directly involved in many of their operations. A few days before Gears of War 3 was leaked, Justin got the game from the others in the group. Some of them, like Seidel, suspected that he was the one who put it online. Justin is almost 3 years older than David, but compared to him, he's a lot less cautious. In 2010, Justin attends PAX East, a video game convention in Boston. He gets calls from Seidel and a few others in the group. They ask him if he can hack into one of the networks on site. Maybe he'll find something interesting.
This is just reckless. This is just pure. This is hubris. This is hubris. It's giving Achilles. It's giving the ankle. It's giving. No, stop.
No big deal if not. Justin gives it a try, but doesn't find a breach to exploit. The network is too secure. He's not ready to give it up, though. He walks around the convention center and finds the stand of a small developer called Atomic Games. They're showcasing a new shooter called Breach. Justin waits until one of the employees heads to the bathroom. Then he sneaks behind the stand and secretly tries to download the game onto his laptop. But the employee comes back sooner than expected. At just 14 megabytes, Justin has to cancel the download and make a run for it. 2 Atomic employees chase after him and quickly catch him. They take him to the police. During the arrest, Justin tries to bribe the officers.
What? This kid's a moron. What the?
Offers them $100 if they let him go.
$100. I'll give you $100 if you let me go home, please. I know that I was trying to hack and steal, but a quick little hundy for you.
During the interrogation, he openly admits he was trying to steal the game. He repeatedly tells the cops that he has names of people bigger and more important than himself. When the other
And he's a snitch! No shot! He folded instantly!
hear about the arrest, they get suspicious. What if Justin has been talking to the cops? He loses their trust.
He absolutely has been talking to the cops, huh? Snitches get stitches? I'll tell you what my dad used to say. He was involved in some syndicated violence activities, according to him, though he is a bit of a liar. Snitches get ditches. That's crazy. Instant fold. Didn't even, literally folded like a piece of paper. Didn't need any pressure. Instant fold. Insane.
He disappears for a while, but eventually gets back in touch, trying to regain their trust. Now he is scamming companies like Cisco, Microsoft, and Lenovo with a return fraud scheme. Someone like that couldn't possibly be working with the cops. Some in the group, like David and Dylan, are thinking. Others, like Seidel, remain skeptical. After some time, Justin manages to get back on board. Back to August 2012, David and Dylan are poking around Microsoft servers. They come across a folder that seems pretty well protected. Looks like only a few developers have access to it. Maybe the company is working on some super secret project, they think. They download the folder and find a bunch of technical documents. Some pics of circuit boards and casings, source code, all that kind of stuff. They wonder what all of this could be for, and they quickly piece it together. They found the plans for the upcoming Xbox console, codename Durango. It'll later be called the Xbox One. They ponder what to do with the plans. They could sell them to others, or they could try to build the console themselves. All parts seem to be available on the market. They order the parts online and have everything shipped to Nathan's house. He volunteers to assemble the gaming console, and it works. The group now has a working prototype of the new Xbox.
This is so extra. This is so much. This is so much. This is so much. This is so much. This is so much more than we needed to do. What did we need to do this for? Also, again, what the is the security of every single one of these companies? And once again, this is high-key Microsoft's fault. I want to say again, this is absolutely Microsoft's fault. But every single, how is it this easy for dumbass little kids to do all of this? Like Disney, Google, they were hacking everywhere. None of these have good security. This is wild.
But no games to test it with, so they decide to sell it. They find a buyer in the Seychelles who is willing to pay $5,000. The buyer transfers the money, and the group discusses who is going to ship the console to him. Justin steps up. He offers to take it to the post office. The group agrees. Justin drives from Delaware to Bowie, about a 2-hour ride, and picks up the console at Nathan's place. But the package never makes it to the Seychelles. They start to get nervous. What if the FBI has intercepted the package?
This is dumb. No, this is their own fault. The fact that they got caught at this point, that's not even Justin's fault. That's their fault. That's all of their fault. They should have listened to Sanad or whatever his fucking name was. Y'all are dumb. Why the did you give it to Justin? How eager was he to take that package? I would love to know. Did he sound excited? Did he seem like he really, really wanted to do it? Why was that? I wonder if there's a reason.
After the sale falls through, Dylan decides to upload the pictures of their prototype online, just to see what happens. He doesn't consult with the others. That means the Xbox prototype is now seemingly publicly up for auction on eBay. By now, Dylan is already known for his impulsive actions. In early 2012, he got drunk, called Epic Games, and confessed to hacking their servers.
What?
He explained to the employees over the phone how he did it and asked for a poster as a reward. He actually got one. This time, things get even worse. The eBay auction goes viral. In no time, bids reach over $20,000. But the sale doesn't go through because Microsoft files a copyright claim. Dylan, who set up the auction under his online name, Superday, starts giving online interviews.
We have someone who's got...
This kid is absolutely the biggest moron I've ever heard of. This is so stupid. This dude is a dumbass. How old is he at this point? Like, come on. What? Interviews?
World-renowned over the past couple of weeks here. I'm just going to go straight to the chase here. His name is Dylan. Most people probably know him by his moniker Superday. He's gotten himself into a little bit of trouble with Microsoft and I guess he's taking the hacking community by storm. Dylan, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Sanad and David are pissed at Dylan. Really pissed.
What the is this dumb thinking? I'm blown away. This kid is so stupid.
After leaving traces all over the internet, this kind of attention is the last thing they need. David cuts off all ties with Dylan. The only ones even more pissed are the people at Microsoft. The investigation picks up speed. Just weeks after the auction, the FBI raids Nathan's, aka Anime Freak's, house and arrest him.
No, our community member, not the Anime Freak. He was one of us. Ow! He didn't even do nothing wrong, just a little bit of hacking.
Aka Sonic tries to distance himself from the group,
Sonic,
but his house gets raided too. He sends a copy of the search warrant to others in the group, including Dylan. Dylan then posts the name of the agents who raided Sanad's house online.
Whoa.
He publicly threatens to send hitmen after them.
Lock this kid up! This kid is a danger to any operation, legal or illegal. This kid is a menace to society, his friends, and himself. What the fuck?
Statement he later regrets.
Dylan!
In February 2013, Dylan Wheeler, also known as Superday, is finally arrested by Australian authorities.
Is he still 14 at this point? Oh my god. Dylan's so dumb.
Austin has learned from Nathan how to fake FIFA coins and turned it into a business. Justin is involved in scams of his own. Both of them lay low for a while. David also keeps a low profile in Canada after he learns about the string of arrests. Well, at least until he gets a chance to snag an actual prototype of the new Xbox.
In what way is the Xbox worth all this? In what? For the Xbox! This is so not worth it!
David is at a concert when he gets a call from Austin. Austin tells him about an 18-year-old hacker named Armin, aka Armin the Cyber. Armin claims to have access to Microsoft Campus and offers them a deal. He will sneak in and steal a real Durango prototype in exchange for some Microsoft server credentials and a few $1,000s. David thinks Armin is nuts, but again, his curiosity gets the better of him, and he agrees.
How am I going to say this? I think with corporations, depending on what it is, if we're not with the people who spend the money and stuff, I don't know. But like at a certain point, can we just acknowledge that maybe too far is too far? Stop being curious. Have less curiosity, please. This is you're so stupid. You're begging to get caught. You're on your knees praying to get caught. Why do this?
At 9 p.m., Armin drives his car to Microsoft Campus. He's wearing a sweater with the company logo and carrying a big backpack. He has cloned
That's
some
not
employee's
suspicious.
access card and has no trouble getting in. The premises are enormous, but Armin knows his way around by now. For almost a year, he has been frequently sneaking into the buildings and dreaming of what it would actually be like to work there. He is a huge fan of Microsoft. He has even applied for a job, but has not heard back yet. Armin enters one of the office buildings. He's nervous, he's been there many times, but never to steal anything. There's still a few people around. Whenever he hears footsteps approaching, he hides. He eventually finds what he's looking for in one of the open plan offices on the 3rd floor. His hands are shaking as he stuffs 3 Xbox prototypes into his backpack.
3 is greedy. 3 is greedy as 1, I could get behind. But not 2, but 3? Everybody involved in this is somehow simultaneously actually a genius and also the dumbest person I've ever heard of.
He sneaks out of the building, leaves the premises, and drives back home. He sends 2 of the consoles to David and Austin and keeps one for himself. Just a week after his break-in, Armin gets a call. It's Microsoft. They reviewed his application. He's got the job.
Oh
It's
my
a dream come true.
God.
But only a couple of weeks later, Armin loses the job. Surveillance cameras have caught him stealing the prototypes.
Oh my God. You're so dumb. You didn't put on a mask or nothing? What the do you mean you got caught on the surveillance cameras?
He's taken into custody. In January 2014, Austin Alcala, aka AA Monkey, is arrested at his house by 4 FBI agents.
Well, yeah.
In March, David Pecora, Xenomega, gets arrested at the US border.
Oh. And all because of their own idiocy. Literally. They all got caught because they're dumb.
David, Sanad, Austin, and Nathan stand trial together in the US. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Dylan is also facing charges. The group is accused of identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy to steal millions of dollars worth of intellectual property. The indictment is extremely detailed. The FBI must have been building the case for a long time.
Yeah.
There are chat logs and transcripts of personal conversations dating back to the
my
first Epic Games
God.
hack in 2011. In court, prosecutors even play audio recordings that must have been secretly made during their hacking sessions.
Oh
But
my
the funny
God.
thing is, I still have root access to all their computers because I signed in yesterday.
So he knowingly logs into Epic, knowing that's still there.
What do you mean?
Like, he in the emails, like they were emailing FBI people, and he knows that they talk to each other, but he still manages to not care.
I have it to the U.S. military. I have it to the Australian Department of Defense. I have every single big company: Intel, AMD, Nvidia.
Like they're just talk about it. Just talk about it. Just being so clear, so very direct about what the is going on here. And also, like, you know that they are looking and you're doing it anyway.
Yeah, Google, Microsoft, Disney, Warner Brothers, everything.
The indictment repeatedly mentions Person A. Person A provided most of the evidence for the FBI.
Which is David.
Person A
No, not
allegedly
David,
helped
Dylan.
David encrypt his hard drive and sell unreleased games to a user named Xbox Dev Guy. Person A is also said to have delivered a self-made prototype of the new Xbox to the FBI.
I get a copy of the indictment.
Dylan, when I get you, Dylan. Dylan, when I get you, Dylan. Dylan, when I get your ass, Dylan. Oh, Dylan! You dummy! You stupid little fuck.
And I start reading about Person A from Wilmington, Delaware. We all only knew one person from Wilmington, Delaware.
Rat!
Justin. All signs point to him being an informant of the FBI.
Oh my.
Did he cut a deal with the police after the incident at the convention? Is that how he got away with all of his scams? No one knows for sure. The guys in the US plead guilty. They all have very different ways of coping with the conviction. David is cooperative. He helps the investigators understand how they bypass the systems of billion-dollar corporations.
Mm-hmm.
The officers are pretty impressed by the 23-year-old's skills. He spends 18 months in prison. After getting out, he finishes college and starts working for cybersecurity firms.
Nice!
Austin gets 3 years probation. He doesn't serve a single day in jail because he agrees to help the FBI with another fraud case involving fake FIFA coins. He later becomes
Fair.
the head of cybersecurity at a social media startup.
Nice!
Sanad serves the same sentence as David, 18 months. He too gets out, but the following years are very hard on him. He starts working at a vape store and goes to college.
Aww.
But his probation officer bans him from using a computer and constantly harasses him.
Everything that I would ever ask her would always be a no. Like, for example, like I would want to go down and see, my sister in Virginia or something, and it's no. It could be, she would come up with the craziest reasons to why she wouldn't let me do anything.
Sanad became more and more isolated and eventually slips into depression. Seeing no prospects for himself, he turns to drugs. His probation officer sees this as a violation of his probation terms.
Well, yeah, it is.
She drags him before a judge, who sentences Sanad to another 9 months behind bars.
Oh.
In 2019, Sanad's probation for his second sentence ends, and for the first time in years, he's allowed to use a computer. He's now clean and living with his sister.
Nice.
Nathan is terrified of having to go to jail. He's one of the youngest in the group and a gentle person. Of all of them, he was the least involved in the hacks. Nathan applies for bail until the verdict is final. He gets an ankle monitor and is allowed to stay with his parents, but the thought of what awaits him in prison eats him up. One day, he cuts off the ankle monitor and tries to flee. He pays a friend to drive him to the Canadian border, but the police catch him at the border checkpoint.
What the did you think was gonna happen? God, these kids are dumb.
Nathan panics. He jumps out of the car and runs across the bridge towards the border, but the cops catch him. He's desperate and considers jumping off the bridge. Then he pulls out a knife and injures himself until he collapses.
Oh.
He survives and is almost immediately taken back to jail, this time serving a 2-year sentence. Shortly before his release, Nathan comes out as trans and is now Holly. The time in prison must have been awful. Just a year after their release, Holly takes their own life.
Oh, that's really sad. Okay, that was really... This is not the correct tone. I did not know what was going to happen. That's awful. That's really sad. I'm sorry. I didn't know how the sentence was going to end. I should have waited. Before I said anything. I apologize. That's really sad. That's really fucking awful. And the thing is I feel like 2 years probably would have been more than they had gotten if they just hadn't done all that. Like, they probably would have gotten a less than a year sentence like the rest of them if she had not tried to run and escape and then broken their bail conditions and all of that stuff. Like, she probably would not have been in jail for very long. And that's what is so sad, because it didn't need to be 2 years. There was definitely years added on to that because of all of the stuff after the crimes.
In Australia, Dylan is the only one who pleads not guilty. This leads to a series of court cases that drag on for over 3 years.
I guess I pled not guilty to the sense that they tried to hit me with everything when there wasn't everything that I did. At the start, they put a lot of false charges on me.
Dylan is ordered to surrender his passport, but instead he heads to the airport and flies to the Czech Republic. He has Czech citizenship because his mother is from there. Shortly after, Dylan's mother is sentenced to 18 months in prison for aiding his escape. Dylan claims that his mother neither drove him to the airport nor sent him money.
Yeah, it's kind of the harsh reality of everything. Someone's got to...
Was this shit not like... Wait, did I get mixed up? Who was was he not the snitch? Justin was the rat. Oh, I thought it was Dylan. They have all these bland-ass names. It's not my fault. Okay, so it wasn't Dylan. Dylan is the Australian kid. Justin was the rat. Giving rats a bad name, by the way. I've got my Rat King ears on. Very disrespectful. He was the one being reckless. Okay, so he was the reckless one. The snitch was Justin. Oh, God. Those names are... Their names are like default. They're so bad.
Go down for something.
Dylan moved to the UK, where he established a cybersecurity firm and gave talks on security-related topics.
I'm not hiding, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I did something when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, an underage teenager.
Right.
It was wrong. I learned from that.
In March 2020, Dylan shuts down his company. There's been no trace of him since. In 2017, when almost all members of the Xbox Underground had served their sentences, the police finally arrest Justin May. The authorities seized a brand new BMW and nearly $40,000 in cash. In 2021, he was convicted of fraud, fencing, tax evasion, and money laundering. He was sentenced to almost 8 years in prison and fined $4 million.
Wow. So he was a rat and didn't stop doing crimes? That's crazy. Damn. That was really interesting, actually. I didn't know what to expect. That was really, really interesting. I think it's actually pretty interesting that so many of them ended up being really, really successful. Like, they ended up just going into cybersecurity because they obviously had a lot of talent to do that. They served their sentences and they became, good members of society. I think that's awesome. They used what they had learned for good. I think it's sad for those who did not end up so good. And honestly, it is kind of funny that Justin ratted on his friends to avoid jail time and then ended up getting significantly more jail time than any of them because he kept doing more worse crimes. It's kind of wild. Yeah, don't do crime. It's not good. I don't think pirating is that big of a deal, but I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying that I don't think it's that big of a deal. And yeah, don't fuck with the mouse. Don't fuck with Disney. That shit make me scared for some reason.